Good evening. I'm Richard Boone, and I'd like to welcome you to the 3 C's of confidence. I'd like to start tonight with a little story. You see, there was this young man that I was working with, and he really just felt overwhelmed in the big moments. We'd walk into an arena for a weekend tournament, and you could see the pressure just build on his shoulders. You could feel the anticipation start to build within him merely by walking into the arena because he did not believe in himself. And he looked up at me and asked me, he's like, what was it like for you when you used to wrestle? He's like, how did you keep it together? And I realized that while I never showed the emotions like he was, I still felt them inside. I experienced them differently because when I heard the noises, when I felt the excitement of the crowd, I kind of thrived off of that. And I was able to step up in those moments. Even though inside, I felt the exact same way that he was. So I couldn't really put that into words where he could understand what I was saying. And I just kept reminding him of, remember who you are. Remember how much work you've put in to deserve this moment, to feel worthy of this opportunity to be here today. Remember the practice rooms that you've been in, the excitement, the anticipation that builds to get to this moment. See all that work, all that sweat. Feel the pain and the hunger that came from you putting in the work that nobody saw you putting in, the workouts at home, the hours spent running. Bring that and let them see the best you. And what happens, happens. So he sat down and he thought a minute. He started remembering all those times, all the hours of work at the practice buildings, at the mat down in the basement, the hours spent working with the weights, all the calls that we had spent together working for this moment. And when he looked back up, and let's go ahead and get started with what we're here to talk about tonight. The 3 C's of confidence. So let me go ahead to screen share, pull up our slideshow. There we go. Minimize this all the way. Beautiful. Here we go. The 3 C's of confidence. What would it be like for you to feel the most confident that you can feel all the time? Knowing that that was congruent within you because you had worked and you were competent enough to be there in this moment, that you had connected with all of the clubs, all of the work partners, all of the weight training to get you in that moment. How would that feel? What would that internal voice be saying to you? That you were ready, that you deserve to be here right now. How would that look through your own eyes to feel that kind of confidence? To be curious enough to know that you could step out onto that mat or that gym or that course and give your best right now. That's exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. You see, the 3 C's are about developing competence, having the skills to be your best, believing in yourself to the point where you know those skills are there. You don't have to think about what to do next. You're going to be congruent with yourself through this process. You're going to know yourself more than you've ever known yourself, and it's going to feel completely different. You're going to enjoy connecting with your opponents, with other people that are going to push you and want you to reach for more. And when you have those 3 C's and you mix in a little bit of curiosity about how far you can really go, oh boy, watch out, because that's when your confidence is going to grow by leaps and bounds. Because your confidence is a skill that you can develop with the right habits. And we're going to touch briefly on those 6 high performance habits at the very end. So a quick introduction. You see, nothing correlates with high performance more than confidence. The elite people out there, the elite athletes, the elite leaders, the business people that really stand out, they weren't born with more confidence than anybody else. They've developed it over time, repeatedly, until they're confident enough to believe that they can rise to meet every challenge by following the 3 C's. They build the skills. They believe wholeheartedly in themselves because they put in the work, in the hours that they need. They've connected with the right people openly from their heart so that they can be there and show up differently. And when you do that and you bring in the states of being joyful, being fully engaged in the moment to enjoy that present that it really is, that's when you really become and feel confident. Confidence really is that secret ingredient that makes you rise, that brings that cream to the top of everything you do. And when you're confident, you tend to have more happiness, more joy in your life. And people that are more confident consistently have greater clarity about where they're going and who they are, about how much energy they have in their life, how productive they are, who's influencing them, and the necessity and the courage to make changes when it comes up. You see, confidence is a powerful gateway to so much more of what we want in our life. More confidence really does equal just more self-belief in yourself. And when you have that self-belief, you set boundaries differently. And you actually are willing to say no when people ask it of you and you're not willing to give it. When people ask for your time, your money, or your energy, and you really believe in yourself and you know that what they're asking for is not in your best interest, that you can say no congruently so that you have less distractions in your life. And that leads to that more love to take on new challenges. And you'll have more energy and passion and power to feel like you're making a difference in the world. And this keeps compounding over and over again. Becoming more confident doesn't mean that life's going to be easier. But people that are high performers, that elite level, they focus on what gives them confidence and avoid things that drain their confidence. So they shift that picture in their mind, that movie that's running. They don't worry about whether people like them. They're truly fine if people don't like them, as long as they're going after what is most important to them right now. Because being more confident is good for your health. It decreases that burnout that we get when we're really dialed in and really giving our all to our dreams and passions. It makes you feel happy and, again, willing to take on those new challenges so that you're more fulfilled. And it becomes a circle where you take on the new challenges and you learn new skills. You get more confidence, which leads to being more congruent with yourself. You connect with more people and you circle back around to more confidence. And that more confidence brings you back around and you go through the cycle again and again and again. Strong confidence and high performing habits literally come together all the time. They push each other to that next level. And it really is those three things that high performers think and do and avoid to develop that strong confidence: competence, congruence, connection. Competence, congruence, connection. Competence, congruence, connection. So let's take a look at what specifically do high performers do to gain and maintain that confidence as they deal with life's challenges and work towards bigger and greater goals. The first one, develop competence. Competence is that belief in your ability to perform a task, a test, a complex moves. It really is knowledge, skills, ability, and then your talent added on top. When those all come together, you move through the 4 steps to where you are competent. You start out at consciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. Then you move to consciously competent, where you can think through the process, but you still can't just perform it without thinking about it. Think about running. When you were a little baby, you started out and you couldn't walk. You were consciously incompetent. And then you started walking and you get leaning forward and you start stumbling forward almost in a little bit of a run as your head would get out in front of your balance. You were consciously competent. You were thinking through the process. Oh, if I just lean forward, I can start running. And as you continue to grow and develop the muscle and the coordination, the skills and the ability to run, you became unconsciously incompetent. You were starting to build the habits where you didn't have to think about it. It just started to happen. Until now, you can just take off running without even thinking about it, and your body automatically does what it needs to do. You're unconsciously competent, which is completely different from everything else you've experienced in your life. It's those magic moments where you get into flow and everything seems like it's slowing down for you. And it's because of that competence. You see, the more competent that we are at a task, the more confident you are to redo it, to have that repetition and to keep stretching. Competence begets confidence. Think about when you're performing, when you're a wrestler and you're drilling a move over and over and over and over, or you're shooting a basketball, or throwing a baseball, swinging the clubs. Whatever the skill that you're working on is, that repetition builds the muscle memory to get you to competence. That's when you feel confident in it. You don't even have to think about doing it. It magically just happens. That's why confidence is a skill that is developed through years of focus, learning, practice, and skill development. The more you work at it, the more competent you become. The more competent you become, the more confident you are in using that ability. High performers really are those learners that keep learning continually. Their belief is that they can learn to win in the future. And that belief gives them so much confidence as their current skill set, because they can always learn more. You've probably heard it said that they fail their way forward. They do what they're currently doing, they fail, they get that first attempt in learning, they fail, they see where they failed, they get feedback, and they move forward to learn the new skills. They trust in their ability to gain those new competencies. That confidence comes in a belief in their power to learn, to figure things out and quickly gain that understanding so that they can ponder new lessons. They get feedback when they win, when they fail, and when they're just checking out themselves. They believe and they integrate that into them so deeply that they do become sure that they will succeed, because they've already survived those setbacks and challenges. You know, great quote out there by Michael Jordan is, I succeed because I've already failed. I've missed more shots than most people are going to attempt, but I keep shooting. You saw it with Steph Curry this past year in the finals, where he finally had a playoff game where he didn't make a three-pointer. It was 140 some games or something crazy like that, but it was the first time that it happened. Did he stop shooting? No. He kept shooting because he believes in his shot. He knows that over time it will fall again. And he came out the next game, I think he had 40 some shot points. But he's confident because he's failed. Most of us are afraid to fail because we're afraid what we think others may think of us. We're not competent enough in ourselves and in our skills to go out there and perform regardless of what people may say, think, or do. The next skill, being congruent. This is when, as a high performer, you shape your identity by conscious will and are aligned with your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors to support that identity. And if you look at the picture, the stick person drawing here, the thoughts occur in our conscious mind. That's when we're consciously incompetent. Our feelings are in our unconscious mind, how well we think we're doing about something. Our thoughts, that picture that we hold, drives the feeling that we have. That shows our body what we need to do. It gives our programming so that we know what attitude and what behaviors are going to come out of that. That congruency feeds that loop. So when you change the picture that's driving what's going on, you change the program. And that's why when so many of you guys that I'm working with, we're looking at not labeling, hey, I'm anxious. What is that feeling that you're experiencing inside your body? Do you have butterflies? Are your hands palms a little sweaty? Do you feel your heart beating faster? What specific sensations are you experiencing without saying it, calling it something? You're changing that picture, that thought that's driving the program. And I want to push you guys to drive to this point that where you wake up every day with a clear intention of who you want to be today. And then you go out into the world and you give that intention with all of your focus and all of your energy in this moment. How confident are you that you can show up in this moment as the best person that you can be, with as much focus and energy and commitment to be the best you can be? How confident would that make you each and every day to show up like that? That sense of authenticity, that pride that you feel right now thinking about that, that's where real confidence comes from. That's where that congruency comes into who you are. Part of this is developed through having a very clear picture of who you are. And you guys are going to have a great worksheet at the end that I'm going to give to everybody that's going to work on this clarity. And I want you to run this worksheet every week. It's going to have specific questions on there so that you know exactly who you want to be this week. Because just like Herschel Walker says here, the harder you train, the harder you're going to be to beat. Not just in this moment, but in life. And when you have a clear picture, a clear intention to build your life off of, then you're going to be aligned with your actions, the thoughts in your heads, the self-image that you hold of yourself. And that will lead to more confidence, more self-belief in what you're capable of. The third part, connecting. Dale Carnegie gives us a great quote. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. High performers love to develop influence with others, who's influencing them and who they're turning around and influencing to help build them up. Who are they connecting with? Who are they learning from? Learning how they think. What challenges are they facing? What are they trying to stand for in this world, in this moment? Wherever you want to go in life, are you looking to somebody that's already there to develop the skills, the thinking, the understanding of what it's going to be that person? If you want to be a state champion in wrestling, are you talking to people that have been state champions? If you want to be a leader in the world and change the world, are you talking to people that are doing it now so that you can connect with them, so that they have their hand out to you and are helping you climb up there to that level, learning how they think, seeing the challenges they face through their eyes, and see why they're looking at things the way they do? When you gain that perspective, you're looking at it differently. You're on a higher level of that spiral, that confidence, competence, congruence, connection circle that's always growing to that next level. By connecting to others, you're learning more about yourselves and the world because you have more knowledge. People that have already done it are there and they want to help you. And when you connect with others, it inspires that greater congruence and competence because you understand more about why you're doing what you do. It's kind of like going to the gym for the first time. And you sit down on the bench and you got the bar up on there. You don't know how wide your hand should be. You're playing with your grip, trying to figure out where you should be. If you wanted the best knowledge, would you ask a guy that looks like he's been working out for a long time? Or would you ask somebody that just walked in and looks brand new like you are, that's never been in the gym before? Connecting like that so you can learn from others moves you further along than struggling to do it by yourself. And that's the difference that connection makes. The more you work with people, the more you learn about yourself. Because they're going to point out things that you're doing or seeing or feeling that you may not have thought about before. You're going to learn new ways to think. Somebody may be further along with math than you and show you a different shortcut that you can use. You may have somebody like Cal Dake come in and show you how to scramble completely different than Jordan Burroughs, for instance, with the wrestling world. Steph Curry is going to shoot different than Michael Jordan. Venus Williams is going to serve differently than Serena Williams. Everybody's going to have little pieces where they've evolved it and created new skills, new ways of serving the same purpose. Because no two people can look at the same thing and see it exactly the same. Everybody's perception is going to be slightly different. That's where this learning drives that connection. How they think, what drives them, what they need, and what they stand for. When you start seeing it through their eyes, all of a sudden you have so much more knowledge and power. And that keeps driving that belief in yourself, that confidence to keep reaching for the stars. And that brings us really to that confidence formula. See, that competence plus congruence plus connection. When we multiply that by the curiosity to see how far we can go, when we care enough to learn those new things and live in alignment with who you want to become, and then take that interest into others, your confidence just grows by leaps and bounds because it really is a skill that you need to develop over and over every day. That curiosity is the spark that brings the vibrancy and the joy to everything you do. It adds so much more to think about. Man, I know what I want to do and how to add value here. Can you see that? How does that make you feel curious? What can you change to show up differently, to add more value in the practice room, in the schoolroom, in life? How curious can you get about living in alignment with the person you want to become? Where you're brutally honest with yourself all the time. Where you can dig down deep enough inside yourself to root out those limiting beliefs that are holding you back. To really get congruent with how far you want to go in life. How curious can you get about knowing that you will do well with others? Because you're just genuinely interested in learning about them, in serving them, instead of a lot of where society focuses on about serving yourself with that instant gratification that we get bombarded with each and every day. When you add that curiosity to the competence, congruent, connection, you're going to feel that confidence spark jump right now. And that's going to be so powerful for you. And it's going to drive you to keep improving each and every day. When those 3 I know statements become your recurring thoughts in your reality in life, the odds are that you will be confidently on your way to higher performance. And that leads us into these 6 high performance habits. These habits are going to be a journey that you're going to be on for the rest of your life. When you adopt these habits, you will be more confident in life and even more extraordinary than you've ever been before. Because growth becomes the objective. And these 6 high performance habits are the map that show you the way. When you seek clarity about who you want to be, how you want to interact with others, and what brings meaning into your life, you'll have a goal to really build your life towards. If you don't have that endpoint to say, I want that, and you can't put a pin in the map out there, how do you know what you're really going after each and every day? Once you know the clarity, you then know how to generate the energy you need to sustain your focus, your effort, and your well-being mentally, physically, and emotionally, so that you can show up each area of your life the way you need to. We're going to raise the necessity on the level of your performance so that you step up differently and you're actively tapping into the reasons you must perform well, so that your internal standards are matching your external demands. We're going to increase the productivity in your primary field of interest, whatever that may be, based off of the clarity that you set with number 1. You're going to focus on prolific quality output for what you want to be known for. And that will help you minimize the distractions and help you set boundaries on where you want to invest in yourselves. You're going to develop influence with people around you so that you can get them to believe in and support your efforts and your ambitions. When people actively know where you want to go, they may know a shortcut to get there. They may know different resources that can be available to you that you aren't seeing at this moment. That's where that connection really comes into play. And you clearly heard the influence the dogs had there, as we had to welcome somebody new into the house because they wanted to share their belief in protecting this domain. And they're demonstrating the courage that they have, like number 6, expressing the ideas to take bold action, to stand up for yourself and others in the face of fear and uncertainty, in the changing conditions that are going to come with it. The great thing is, everyone, life happens. When you know where you want to go and who you want to be, you'll have the energy and the desire to push for more in your life, to raise that necessity, to increase your productivity, to develop the influence and demonstrate that courage to go to higher and higher levels. And if that's where you want to go, reach out, because that's where I'm taking people to. That's where the new world is going to be right now as we come out truly out of the COVID pandemic. The world's going to a new place. And the people that embrace these high performance habits are going to get there first. And they're going to set the bar of where everybody else needs to come to. Are you ready to step up in that way? So I just want to say thank you, because that ends our slideshow. And you can see how happy the dog is about that as he quickly shares with us again his happiness. So let me switch gears here a second and pull up the 3 C's of competence performance prompts. They're broken down by competence, congruence, and connecting. And you can see that they have some different parts to each one. And I'd like you to review these once a week. What competencies do you need to develop to show up better in your life? What knowledge, skills, abilities, or talents do you need to work towards, to cultivate, to have more in your life? I want you to find 5 things and give yourself credit for them, so you can feel more confident knowing that you accomplished something. I want you to find 5 things that you learned to do in the past few years that you haven't given yourself credit for. And look at number 4. I feel that I can handle a big challenge in my life right now because I'm good at learning how to. What sets you apart that makes you ready to handle a big challenge right now? And number 5, a practice I'll begin doing every week to help me start feeling more confident is, we just gave it to you, running through this list every week. Building that clarity of where you want to go so that you can have a map to work from and show you how much you've learned. For instance, with number 2, I give myself credit for learning all these things. Every day I find 5 good things that I did today that move me closer to my goal. I start my day out with 3 things that I can do today that move me closer to my goals, so that I'm always focused on what I can do, what I did do that move me closer to what I want to be, because I have that clear picture. That gets me more congruent with the person I really want to be in life, because I can describe it clearly so that I know exactly what I'm working towards. Here we go again, 3 things I could do each week to live more congruently with that vision of myself. Can I improve my health? Mental, physical, emotional health. What goals can I add in? What habits, behaviors can I change that get me closer to that ideal vision of myself? What 3 things I should definitely stop doing in my life so that I can live in greater congruence with the ideal image of myself? What habits can you release? What junk food, soda pop can you cut out of your life? What negative emotions can you release? What coaches can you add into your life to get you closer to where you want to be? And then thirdly, enjoy connecting with people. The main reason I want to become better with people is so that I can develop the skills of actually talking to you guys the way I want to. So I can lead you guys on these journeys to these 6 high performance habits. That's one of my reasons. I have a big picture that I'm working towards. I know I'll become more confident with people when I do this, and this. When I'm actively reaching out, when I'm sharing my knowledge, when I'm bringing everything that I have to the table, then I become more confident with people. And number 3, to gain more confidence with people, from now on, when I talk with them, I'll think of, what do I want to think of? How can I think of myself differently enough to where I want to connect with people? One of the secrets that I do is I actually have a mirror on a chair behind my computer here. So I'm looking at myself like I'm talking to myself right now. And I'm not just teaching, but I'm just talking with myself. You can hear the change in my voice. That's showing up differently. That's one of those ways to gain more confidence with people. When we get out of our own head and into our body, into our heart, and we show up with that passion for being excellent, that gets you where you need to be to influence people. That's what this is all about for me. If you guys are ready to join me on this journey for these high performance habits, let's talk. Shoot me a text, a DM, however you want to get a hold of me. And let's start on this journey. I'm going to kick off a group coaching with this next month. I know there's only 5 days left in August, but we're going to kick it off about September 15th. I'm looking for 10 people to be in this group. If that's you, reach out so we can start this journey together. Remember those 3 C's: competence, congruence, connection, and sprinkle in a little curiosity over top of it to really bring that confidence out in your life. Have a great night.